this guy, I don't know who William Wolfe is, Executive Director, Center for Baptist Leadership, a former Hill staffer, and Trump appointee at State and DOD. So the fact that a billionaire real estate playboy who liked to slap his name on steaks and wine has proven to be a better diplomat and military strategist than every other politician and foreign policy expert over the last 30 years is such a damning indictment of the DC establishment, I honestly don't know how they recover. And I think this is a good point. When you think about all these people talking about forever war and how we were in and out of Iran in like a couple hours, it kind of makes you wonder, hey, what the fuck was everyone doing before now? If we could go into Venezuela and spirit away their leader in the middle of the night in a couple of hours, and we can go in and kill Iran's leader in a couple of hours, what was all this forever war bullshit for decades before this? It kind of makes you think that all of these strategists and all of these politicians are just lying to you for the sake of money and power. And they just enjoyed keeping human suffering going because they're weird as fuck. I was like, I don't know, man. The forever war BS was for money laundering. Yeah, it's really weird. And I think if there's one takeaway, even if you don't necessarily like Trump getting involved in other countries, like just full stop period, right? Even if you're like, I can see that there are good things from him doing what he did in Iran and in Venezuela, but I would have preferred he didn't do that and just kept doing things domestically, right? Even if you have that opinion, going forward, politicians are probably going to try and go back to the forever war policies because that's how they make money. And I don't think it will be as easy for them to do that and make excuses for doing that after Trump having done these, at least at this point, two things. President Donald Trump broke his silence Sunday on the first U.S. casualties of the Iran war in an exclusive phone interview with the Daily Mail. 3 U.S. service members were killed in the fighting. They have yet to be identified publicly. They're great people, the president said. And, you know, we expect that to happen. Unfortunately, could happen continuous. It could happen again. So this wasn't just bombing if there were service members who got killed. How did they get killed and where did they get killed is my question. And it's like, I don't want this. I don't want this. And I don't think that shorting China of some of their oil is worth sending more Americans to die in the sandbox. I don't like that. It's like, I don't know how else you would deal with China, but if the result is like, having to go in, you believe it was the Iran bomb of a US base in Iraq that resulted in the deaths? They got hit in the reciprocal strikes from Iran to bases in the region, not boots on the ground, killed by retaliatory missile and drone strikes while on bases elsewhere. And that explains why Iran is just kind of throwing missiles into other countries around them. Trump acknowledged that the 3 casualties were the first in his second term, as the January capture of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and the June bombing of Iranian nuclear facilities were pulled off without a single American death. We've done pretty well, he noted, adding, but they're great people with outstanding records, outstanding. Trump also revealed a potential timeline for the war with Iran, suggesting fighting could go on for the next 4 weeks. It's always been a 4-week process. We figured it'll be 4 weeks or so. It's always been about a 4-week process. As strong as it is, it's a big country. It'll take 4 weeks or less. He said he hasn't been surprised by any of the outcomes of the strikes thus far. Oh, is this the video? Oh, I was gonna say, wasn't there like a little tiny plink that happened on like the Burj Khalifa? I feel like I saw a video where it was just like a little tiny poot and it just didn't do anything. No, I think it's going as per planned, you know, other than we took out their entire leadership, far more than what we thought. Looks like 48, he answered. I don't know what that means, looks like 48. The president remained open to more talks with the Iranians, but couldn't say if that would happen soon. I don't know, he answered. They want to talk, but I said, you should have talked last week, not this week. Oh, U.S. has killed 48 Iranian leaders. Damn, that's a lot of leaders. The president spoke to the Daily Mail from his Mar-a-Lago resort, where he's been hunkered down since ordering the strikes on Iran. The president suggested he would address the American people again. His initial announcement of the Iran strikes came at 2:30 a.m. Saturday morning via a Truth Social post. I'm getting ready to do so, he answered, when asked if he would give a speech or remarks on the attacks. He didn't give specifics on timing. I'm with the generals right now just to give a little bit of an update, so I'll be doing that now. I'll be doing that right after this call, as a matter of fact. The president said he had spoken Sunday with the leaders of Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Jordan, and a couple of others, responding to the news that Saudi Arabia could launch attacks on Iran after being initially targeted. The president said they're fighting too. Trump is expected back in Washington, D.C. later Sunday. He said his people had been in touch with the facilities of the deceased service members. Families of the deceased service members, my bad. And I'll be meeting with their families at the appropriate time, he said. Trump said he'd maybe travel out to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware for the solemn, dignified transfer of the troops' remains or invite the families to the White House. He also remained hopeful that a democracy could grow in Iran after the U.S. and Israeli strikes end. Ooh. I understand the sentiment of saying this, but once again, considering the war on terror and considering literally everyone's opinions on America being like, I'm gonna go and spread democracy, I don't like that. I do, he answered. It'll be very interesting to watch, but a lot of things could happen and a lot of very positive things could happen. The sandbox is never going to be a democracy. I don't think the sandbox can be a democracy for the exact reason that we see any kind of democracy we have in our constitutional republic kind of fading away. Democracy is nice and all, but I don't think it can work in certain cultures. Swear to God, if we do nation building again, you're gonna be pissed. Yeah, I do not want us to do nation building. We need to nation build our own nation is what we need to be doing. We cannot really be building other nations while communists are eating away at the walls inside of our home. The Shah of Iran wants to help the populace shift to a representative republic, and I mean, I hope he can do something like that, but who knows? Is it though? Is mob rule good? Is having the unwashed, mentally challenged masses telling you how to live a good thing? And that's why we were like, instead of a majority rule democracy, we were a constitutional republic, but eventually people found out ways to exploit that as well. Unfortunately so. Yeah, but apparently, Iran declares jihad as anti-US riots spread across the Middle East. Senior clerics issue fatwa against America saying vengeance is religious duty for all Muslims. And I wonder, right, because when I see something like Iran declares jihad or anti-US riots across the Middle East, I imagine that these are from the majority of the people who genuinely wish death on not just Americans, but Western culture in general. I imagine that these are the people who would like to conquer Western nations in the name of Islam. And so when I see this, I'm like, this is bad, but it doesn't negate that our actions were good, right? This is our enemies being angry that we did something instead of just rolling over and taking it. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of people who look at this and they're going to be like, America's doing this like interventionalism that no one wants. The people of Iran didn't want this. And they're going to run with a narrative of like, America bad, America brought this on themselves, and America deserves what's going to happen from the retaliation for their bad move. And I think that would be a very wrong narrative to say. Hassan declares jihad. It's the death rattle of the Iranian regime. Yeah. So I don't think these are the regular people, either in Iran or the Middle East. I don't think these are the regular citizens. It's not about good or bad, it's about survival. You can't bomb villains because they'll react like villains. Yeah, pretty much. You can't kill your enemies, then they win.
The United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives.
Surrender.
They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there.
And I also do think, right, like, we're obviously, like we talked about earlier, working off of very little information, so it's hard exactly to figure out whether this is completely good or completely bad, or if there will be some kind of gray area here. But hopefully once things are accomplished and we have more information, we'll be able to make a much better informed, like, opinion on it. It's really frustrating, I guess, from my view, because I don't know a lot about the historical sandbox stuff. And it's I would feel bad to not talk about this, but it's like I'm not an authority. I don't have a ton of knowledge about it. But I would like to know what's going on, and especially as it affects me as an American.
Here today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world, by far.
Trump isn't eloquent enough for this message. I mean, I can kind of appreciate that he's not the most eloquent, because it makes him sound more like a normal person, I guess, instead of someone that's, like, trying to smooth speak over something that's not, like, the best to talk about, right? Maybe he's just tired. I mean, I'm sure he's fucking exhausted. Dude tells the truth, but he fucking sucks at conducting himself. I don't know about that. Phoenix DS, thank you. You don't think this, you don't think that the Hague International Prison for War Criminals would be that big for the Iranian IRGC soldiers? It would need to be expanded. The heck? Honest question, do I think Biden ever thinks about the people he left behind in Afghanistan? Probably not. Probably not. Penitent Lizard, thank you for the 7-month member. Does Iran have a decent military of any kind that could fight on equal footing with the U.S.? You have a hard time believing it if that's the pitch. Well, when we think about, like, fighting on equal footing, and I've said this before as well, it's like you think about fighting with boots on the ground. And I don't think that their military could even touch ours, even though we've, like, kneecapped ourselves with reducing standards and allowing the mentally ill into the military and allowing people who probably shouldn't be in certain positions to have those positions, right? Even with us handicapping our military in that way, I still think we are by far and above any Middle Eastern military that exists. The problem is not the boots on the ground in that kind of question, but, like, the missiles and the bombs that they're able to use to strike us. Because you don't need to be, like, efficient at warfare in order to hit someone with a missile. Biden checked his watch and almost fell asleep when the caskets of the U.S. Marines blown up during the Afghan withdrawal were being walked by him. There's no way he thinks of the people he left behind. Yeah, that was really fucking gross. Internet Zen Master, thank you. Give you a Trump telling you harsh truth over a smooth-talking Obama Biden who will whisper sweet little lies about it. We had 3 killed in action, 47 injured under Biden, and Democrats weren't screaming then. Yeah. I thought it was more than 3 under Biden, but I could be misremembering. Chat, can we not pray to Allah for the new Ayatollah? Will Stancil, inshallah. What the heck? Iran would destroy our military boots on the ground. We haven't been good at land invasion since World War II. I might not be the most informed on, like, military tactic things, but I think it's a very silly thing to think that our military still isn't one of the best in the world, even though we've kneecapped ourselves. Is that chatter retarded? I feel like it's... I call so many people retarded when they say dumb things. I gotta get more interesting, you know? Desert Storm wants a word. Mod Sandpaper is nuts. Oh my god. We should airdrop a Burger King right in there. We're really good on the ground, but we fucking handicap ourselves so fucking hard, right? Even kneecapped, we would curb stomp them. That's very true. For boots on the ground, don't we use the power of all the elements to beat their ass? Air, sky, tanks. We're like the fucking benders, dude.
But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do.
True. I will agree with that.
It's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons.
Very true.
Allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us.
This gives me another question. Listening to this, right? When someone signs up for the military, right? These are men that, in theory, when you sign up, you're like, I am willing to work on behalf of my nation. I want to serve my country and protect my people. And so, like, especially coming from my perspective, where it's like, I don't want people to die. I don't want to see suffering. What is the point of the military? Like, what is the point of having men sign up for the military that want to serve and protect their country to just have it stand there and do nothing? Right? Like, if we apply my I don't want death ever kind of logic, right? What would the military be for? Like, if you're not willing to use it to attack your enemies before they attack you, if you're not willing to use it to defend yourself, what is the military even for? What is the point of it? And the answer would be, there is none. If you build a military, but you refuse to employ it because you're worried about any kind of death that might happen, you might as well not have a military. And so, like, that immediately, like, just completely dissolves the, well, there shouldn't be any death ever logic. And death is terrible. You don't want to see it. You don't want it to happen. But it's not always some Machiavellian, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make kind of statement from someone. Tell you a secret, we all face death at some point. Yeah, we do. We do, but it's like, when you say, if we did this thing in Iran for the betterment of our country, and we just don't have enough information beyond we're kneecapping China's oil, and we're getting rid of a regime that chants death to America, and is in the pursuit of weapons to try and bring death to America, right? With just those two things, logically, it sounds like it would be a good idea, especially after any kind of peaceful negotiations have fallen through multiple times, to preemptively strike them before they strike us. But when you're someone who's like, I would like to prevent my enemies from killing me, you have all of these people in politics and in podcasting and in content creation and just other talking heads being like, that's bad. if you want to attack your enemy to prevent them from killing you, that means you're okay with military members dying. You're okay with the death that happens. And I think that's kind of part of what prevents some people from being more pro on this stance, because it's like, I don't want the death to happen, and I get shamed for being happy that we attacked our enemies before they killed us. And it just creates this like, no, like, people just don't want to agree with it. A tale as old as time, I guess.
Many years ago.
Oh, my audio went out again. You piece of shit!
We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right, and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime.
That's also a good point. People like thinking about like freedom and the rights that we have, but having freedom is also kind of a burden, because you must defend your right to keep it, because everybody else seeks to take it from you.
With nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
My cat
We are
agrees.
the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death.
That's the second time he said that, and it sounds badass every time. As just like, yes, this is how I wish to see our enemies spoken to. It's like, you either submit or we're going to fucking kill you.
Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Yes. This is like another thing that reminds me. Sometimes it's happened to me a couple of times on stream where like someone will mention being a service member, and I'll just be like, oh yeah, thank you for your service, guy. And they'll get like really mad that I say that, and it's like, well, I feel like that should be like the default kind of respectful thing to say, right? Because like in theory, once again, like people in chat said today, you know what you're signing up for when you go into the military. And so regardless of like your personal feelings, you still signed up to potentially make a sacrifice, and it feels like a minimal of respect is just thanking them for that, right? Holy shit. Jesus fuck. Here comes the sun. That's scary. I could not imagine having to deal with this shit. Yo, that looks fucking cool. I mean, it looks cool from the safety of your home, but when you think about the guy recording it and all of the people around him, like, that's horrifying. Trainwreckstv, who is Iranian, dropped a flurry of reposts highlighting how he feels about the events in Iran. Long live Iran. Iranians are celebrating in the street while the dumbest, most anti-American liberal you know is pissed off. May the lion roar once again after nearly 50 years. I don't know much about Trainwrecks besides him being like a massive fucking degenerate that's also gotten arrested for like some lap dance thing at some restaurant in some Southeast Asian country. Wasn't that Ice Poseidon? Oh, that was Ice Poseidon. Wait, so which one's Trainwrecks? Chat. I just got Trainwrecks confused with Ice Poseidon. Who's Trainwrecks? Which one's that? I like, what is Trainwrecks known for? Because I guess if I got him confused with Ice Poseidon, I don't know anything about him. Trainwrecks looks like a gorilla. He's the CSGO case guy. He's the gorilla looking guy. This isn't helping me. Trainwrecks is the what a fucked up day guy. Okay, I guess I've never seen anything about Trainwrecks in my life. Founder of Kick. I thought that was Aiden Ross and some guy named Eddie. Trainwrecks is directly responsible for Kick. Trainwrecks is the guy who ranted about e-thoughts invading men's spaces. He helped start Kick. Trainwrecks was one of the gambling bros that got kicked off Twitch during the anti-gambling phase. Well, I'm glad he's not as degenerate as Ice Poseidon, but I guess I know literally nothing about him. So I'm going into this with zero knowledge about who Trainwrecks is. But he's retweeting stuff saying, we're learning today is that there's no regime brutal enough, no threat big enough that the left won't sacrifice you too if it means opposing Donald Trump. Someone else that he retweeted saying, all the world's worst people are really sad today. Daniel Negrinau saying, long live Iran. Hikaru Nakamura saying, may the lion roar once again after nearly 50 years. Trainwrecks retweeting someone saying, Iranians are celebrating in the street while the dumbest, most anti-American liberal you know is pissed off. Reddit lies. Iranians are correcting Redditors lying about their translations in a video showing people cheering on the airstrikes. Trainwrecks responding or retweeting Deborah Lee. This is the first time in history where the citizens of a country being bombed are celebrating. Trainwrecks also retweeting, this is the first time in history where the citizens of a country being bombed are celebrating, while some citizens of the country who did the bombing are protesting. Leftists, man, they're retarded. Also retweeting, if you're bombing a country and the citizens of that country are celebrating, you're doing the right thing. There's a lot of people who are saying that the citizens weren't actually celebrating, that somehow was like a government psyop. I'm not really sure exactly how that would work, considering the government shut off Iran's internet. And there's not many people VPNing out, but you know, this is a fall of Berlin Wall moment. I wonder if there was internet, right? Like if mass internet as it does today existed when the Berlin Wall fell. Was that 89 or 91? I can't remember when that happened. I was not of existence in the mortal plane, so I don't know. Meow bunker kitty. I'm bad at remembering things. It was 89, 91. Okay. Okay, I guess chat is just as unable to remember as me, because I see people typing 89 and 91. 89, 91 was then the Soviet Union fell. Okay, 89 and then 91 followed the Soviet Union. Okay, so in 81, by the way, in 89, when the wall fell, if the internet was as it is today, I wonder how many people would be decrying the wall falling and saying that that's a bad thing. That's what I'm kind of curious of, you know? Trainwreck also retweeting Muslim countries that support today's U.S. strike on Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain. Muslim countries that do not support today's U.S. strike on Iran, France and the United Kingdom. What a weird time to be alive when all of the other Middle Eastern countries are like, yes, we are happy this is happening. And then France and the UK are like, no, that's bad. Maybe we'll have to do something about the European caliphate soon. Trainwrecks retweeting, I don't care where you've been, but I urge you to stand with Iranians now. And then another one saying, Iranian women are dancing in the street with no hijabs to be seen. The Islamic regime's oppression of women is coming to a close. It's disgusting that so-called feminist liberals at home would call this Islamophobia. True and real. You know, Trainwrecks only says Persian, never an Iranian. Aren't Persians like part of Iran, right? Like, aren't they a large ethnicity in Iran? Am I crazy? Persia's pre-Iran? And part Iran is the Persians' home country. Speaking of French, have I seen what Sarue tweeted? My advice to anyone trying to tweet something political and then getting shit fling backed on them, and then being like, actually, this wasn't political. Look, man, I'm for any content creator saying any opinion that they want to say. It's your opinion. You can say it. I don't care if you're not normally a political streamer. You have every right to say whatever the fuck you want. But if you're not a political content creator normally, and you don't understand the arena that you're dipping your toes into, you might not be ready for what's about to happen to you. And so it's like, please just take pause. And my biggest advice, whether I agree with your take, whether I disagree with your take, whether you think of me as some like big bad evil Hitler reincarnation, my advice to you, do not lock your replies. Don't do it. It will make things worse. You don't have to check your notifications. You can just clear them. Don't lock your replies. My second piece of advice, don't hide replies. Hidden replies are pinned replies. Those are the things people will see first, and anything you hide will be applied to what you think and what you believe. Don't lock replies, don't hide replies. If you can do those two things, you'll be so much better off, I promise you. Muting and hiding mutes your argument. Yep, it's just a video game quote. Is the dumbest defense ever. Like, it could have been a coincidence, right? The timing could have been a coincidence, but there's been so many instances of like a non-political creator being like, here is a subtly political tweet, and then when they start getting shit flung back on them, they're like, actually that wasn't really political, that was a joke. And it's like, come on bro, we're not fucking retarded, man. Like, it's fine if you want to have your opinion, but at least stand by it, dude. Basically, no bitch assness behavior on X. It's like a non-political creator's playing Animal Crossing, all right? And we're out here in like Escape from Tarkov. And then the Animal Crossing creator decides to like step into Escape from Tarkov. Like, they don't know what's about to happen, okay? Like, it's like, as long as you understand when you move over from Animal Crossing to Tarkov, you might need to get some plate armor. Everything's gonna be fine. It's your God-given right to walk into a war zone, but you might need some armor on if you don't want to get shot. Very true. Plasma Legion, thank you. Surue wouldn't be nearly as annoying if she stood by your shit. People that throw rocks and hide hands are the worst. I'm not even gonna chastise her too much for it. It's just like, say whatever you want, but like, don't get that mad about it, man. Don't lock your replies, don't hide replies, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Everything will be fine. As I saw this and it said Washington state lawmakers are advising a bill that would restrict employees from microchipping workers. It would prohibit coercive subdermal microchipping while allowing voluntary medical exceptions. And no companies currently mandate this. And I was like, okay, all right, hold on. If no companies are currently mandating chipping, what was Washington so worried about that they preemptively passed this, possibly years in advance before we even have like mass microchipping technology? Because as of right now, the only microchips I've heard of are like some severely disabled guy who got one from Elon Musk, and then people in Sweden implanting chips in their hands that they can use for quick pay. Those are like the only two instances I can remember off the top of my head. And so when I'm like, hold up, Washington is preemptively passing something that sounds like it's good and would protect us, now I'm worried, because why would they do that? So I had to look up an article to make sure this wasn't just some like weird shit. And there is an article, unfortunately. Washington lawmakers advancing bill. So this one said advancing bill. Why are they advancing a bill restricting employers from microchipping workers? With hundreds of bills dying with less than 2 weeks left before the end of this year's legislative session, one of the bills advancing has to do with microchipping. Lawmakers want to restrict companies from requiring or pressuring employees to have microchips implanted under their skin. It's not a real-life problem right now in the US. There are no known cases of companies requiring or forcing workers to be microchipped. The measure is intended as a preemptive step just in case. The main sponsor of HB 2303 is Representative Brianna Thomas, who represents areas like West Seattle. The proposal has drawn little testimony or debate among lawmakers this session, but the bill has already passed the House, which kicked the issue to the Senate side. This week, the Senator Labit? What am I reading? What is my brain? The Senate Labor and Commerce Committee voted to advance the measure to the next step after laughing about it briefly before passing it. Are they just like passing things that are, it's just a prank, bro, now? Like, that's what we want to know. I don't know, man. From looking at the way lawmakers are voting so far, there's some bipartisan fear over human microchipping. But one lawmaker who voted against the measure during an earlier House committee hearing said he was concerned over government overreach. I think that's a little weird too, right? Because if the bill is addressing companies requiring employees to get microchipped, that's not just them having a conversation. You feel like if the real overreach would be to force people to get subdermal implants. Yeah, right? Like, I don't... What? Representative Joel McIntyre said he was initially supportive of the measure, but after some thought, realized it was too restrictive to tell a company and a worker that they could not even talk about an issue. They can't even ask, and that's how I understand the bill as it's written. I thought to myself, then what right do I have, even as a lawmaker, to come into the workplace and say that this novel technology cannot be even discussed or requested by the employer to the employee? This guy wants to fucking tag and bag his employees like cattle. Supporters argue the legislation would ensure employers are never able to surveil or track workers through subdermal chips. The bill only regulates employers and does not weigh in what people do outside of work. There are also exceptions made for microchips used for medical purposes. What do you think will come first? A medical purpose microchip that does something like useful for many millions of people, or a medical microchip to balance AIDS? It worked with the COVID jab. You can see this being pushed. Yeah. Ooh. I wonder if the discourse of the future is going to be like what the government did to us under COVID was just a test run for getting us to consent to the subdermal plants. In a statement, Thomas said, there are reports of voluntary microchipping. It would be extraordinarily difficult, if not impossible, to mitigate the civil rights and workers' rights issues that would come if and when companies start requiring these. But because of the power dynamic, true employee consent for these programs is impossible. We don't want to have to try and clean up an impossible mess after it's too late. So we're getting ahead of the problem. If only we could have done that for immigration. A microchip that listens to what you say to serve you better personalized ads. Oh god. Just imagining like the fucking eye surgery stuff of the future. It's like, oh, your ability to see has been impacted for the next 45 seconds while this ad plays. This was just breaking. Mass stabbing with shots fired on I-495 near DC. Situation developing. Police shoot a man who stabbed multiple people on a crash on I-495. I mean, to be fair, if anyone is gonna have a mass road rage incident, it's probably gonna be on 495. But like, that's kind of weird. I wonder exactly what happened, right? Is this like a normal car accident and someone just road raged out of their mind? Or is this like someone purposefully caused a car accident and then went on a stabbing spree? And also, like, what were they stabbing with exactly? Because if most people are staying in their cars, can you easily stab through a car window? I don't know. There's not a whole lot of info yet. Several people stabbed on the Beltway with shots fired by Virginia State Police. Outer loop of I-95 at Little River Turnpike in Annandale, Virginia. The suspect is down after shots were reportedly fired by Virginia State Police. At least 4 victims have been stabbed on the Beltway. 2 are reported in critical condition. Fairfax County Police are assisting VSP troopers with shutting down the outer loop of the Beltway now. Irate motorist stabs 3 people at crash site before trooper stops him in his tracks. A knife-wielding maniac stabbed 3 people during a clash on the side of a Virginia highway Sunday before a state trooper shot him in the chest. Capitol Beltway on I-495 southbound, closest to Annandale, Virginia, roughly 15 miles outside of DC, was at a total standstill by 1:30 p.m. More than a dozen police cars were still on the scene hours later, as captured on the Virginia Department of Transportation's traffic cams. The carnage unfolded after an irate man allegedly started stabbing people in another vehicle involved in a property damage crash, according to the Fairfax police dispatcher. One responding trooper with the Virginia State Police opened fire just before 1:30 p.m., striking the knife-wielding suspect twice in the chest, as recounted on the dispatcher. Damn, bro. There were 4 confirmed victims, including the man shot by police and multiple individuals down with stab wounds. Medics had to resuscitate 1 victim at the scene. 2 others were critically injured, and emergency responders said over the dispatch. The victims were all rushed to the Innova Fairfax Medical Campus. No troopers were injured in the confrontation. The VDOT advised that people seek alternate routes as miles-long traffic continued to stretch down the Beltway. The Post reached out to the VSP for more information. I see we still do not have any information on the man who did it. He was stabbing people. He wasn't a victim. End of line. That is very weird, and I'm glad you said that because I didn't catch it as I was reading it. Why does it say that there are 4 victims, including the man shot? 4 confirmed victims, including the man shot by police. So it should be 3 confirmed victims, and then a 4th being the man shot by police. Austin bar mass shooter possibly motivated by the Iran attacks, Quran found in car, as FBI eyes terrorism after 2 killed, 14 injured. The fiend behind Sunday's bloodbath at a packed Austin bar was an ex-New York City resident, wearing a Property of Allah hoodie, and possibly out for vengeance over the U.S. attack on Iran, law enforcement sources told the Post. I made the joke on Twitter, wearing a Property of Allah hoodie. Literally some fucking Discord kitten sounding ass. Give me the daddy's little kitten special, but make it halal, bro. Texas shooter Nadaiga Diagne, 53, had a Quran in his car and was possibly also wearing an undershirt featuring the Iranian flag or other Iranian symbols when he opened fire on Buford's backyard beer garden near the University of Texas Austin campus, according to sources familiar with the investigation. Diagne, a U.S. citizen originally from Senegal, was naturalized in 2013 and applied for asylum in 2016, sources said. This is a great argument for denaturalization and deportation. The Austin Police Department and the FBI investigated shooting. That looks really cute. That looks really good. That little heart, that's cute. The gunman was a known emotionally disturbed person in both the Big Apple and Texas, sources said. He also had a history of arrests in New York City and Texas. He is believed to have lived in the Big Apple for years, arriving in 2000 and then racking up a string of arrests between 2001 to 2016. Hey, so when people who emigrate here do this, they should be denaturalized and deported. Why is this our problem? Why should this be our problem to bear? This doesn't make sense. He was known by police. He was arrested in 2001 for illegally vending. Okay. His other 3 city busts are sealed, sources said. Okay. Why are they sealed? Why are we sealing criminal records of people who emigrated here? Can we just, can we have some explanations? Obviously, it's still way too early in the process to determine the exact motivation, but there were indicators on the subject and in his vehicle that indicate potential nexus to terrorism, said Alex Doran, acting special agent in charge of the FBI San Antonio office. This attack happened at about 2 a.m., closing time for the popular night spot, as hundreds of people were leaving to head home. Diagne's large SUV was spotted traveling around the block several times before he stopped in front of the bar and began shooting out of his front window with a pistol, hitting patrons on the front patio, according to Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis. He then parked his car, got out, and began shooting at people walking by on the street. Clearly he was an engineer of social distrust. Police confronted the shooter within less than a minute of the first gunshot on the intersection of 6th Street and shot him. 2 victims and the shooter died at the scene. First responders rushed 14 other patients to nearby hospitals, 3 of whom were in critical condition. Our hearts go out to the people that are victims of this, and I want to reiterate my thanks to our public safety officers and officials that so rapidly were on the scene. They definitely saved lives, Austin Mayor Kirk Watson said. This act of violence will not define us, nor will it shake the resolve of Texans. To anyone who thinks about using the current conflict in the Middle East to threaten Texans or our critical infrastructure, understand this clearly. Texas will respond with decisive and overwhelming force to protect our state, Texas Government Greg Abbott said in a statement. I just don't think that these are things we should have to deal with. If someone immigrates here, it's because they want to be here, right? We shouldn't be taking in people who then rack up criminal records and say, well, he's just one of us now. Like this doesn't really make sense in my opinion. Laura Loomer sets her sights on Kick, specifically co-founder Bijan Tehrani, who is Iranian, and Sneako being on his platform. So I'll read her tweet like on her actual page so we can watch the video. Here's a clip posted by Sneako's own clippers in which he brags about Kick paying him over $166,000 in the month of February. That's fucking crazy, first of all. $166,000 in 1 month? That's insane. How much money does this man make in a year? That's fucking crazy. Holy. This is shameful. Kick has a lot of explaining to do. That's fucking wild. But here's Laura Loomer's thing. She said, Bijan Tehrani is the co-founder of Kick, a streaming platform. Bijan Tehrani is Iranian, and all of the Kick streamers are mostly paid via crypto. It's interesting to see Bijan celebrate the US strikes on Iran that killed Khamenei, because one of Kick's largest streamers is Sneako, a Muslim who lives in the United States who spent all of yesterday attacking the strikes on Iran and praising the Ayatollah. Now, we're only in the second paragraph, and she already sounds like a dumb bitch. Why does it matter that one of the creators of Kick supports the airstrikes on Iran, and yet one of the creators on the platform is against it and is praising the Ayatollah? This just tells me that Kick is a good platform because they're not banning people that disagree with them. So, like, what the fuck is she talking about? In this clip below, Sneako said everyone should pray during Ramadan for the Ayatollah to get the highest rank in paradise. Yeah, and? Like, I disagree with him, but he's free to say this. What point are you trying to make, Miss Dirty Bloomers? In February, Kick paid Sneako $166,637.44 for streaming on their platform. Most of his streams focus on anti-American topics, and he spends a lot of time trying to recruit men to convert to Islam. In the past, Sneako has also praised Osama bin Laden. Yeah? And while I very much disagree with him, he is completely opposed to my worldview. He is free to say these things. And once again, this gives me a better view of Kick, because this is someone against my worldview, someone who obviously disagrees with one of the owners of Kick, and not only has Kick not banned him, but he's making fucking bank on their website. This makes Kick look good. What do you mean? That's right, we should deport him to Iran. Praising Osama bin Laden is probably one of the most retarded things I've heard. But, like, I wouldn't want him banned for this. I wouldn't want him fucking not able to make money because he says things I disagree with. He says things that are incompatible with the way I want my country to be. This is part of what discourse is like. And if you just start banning people that you disagree with and say things that you don't want to happen to your country, you start losing the plot. They start saying things secretly and underground where they can't be countered by rational thought in the light. Giving them more reasons to claim censorship is just a hassle, yeah, right? Why is Kick paying Muslim streamers to simp for the Iranian regime and promote Islamic terrorists, while the Iranian regime is chanting death to America and trying to murder Americans with missiles? Where the fuck is Miss Dirty Bloomers been through, like, the last several years of Hassan content? Like, what? What are we doing here? They're very biased because they didn't do that to Hassan. Yeah, like, it's just like, what are you complaining about Sneako for when Hassan exists? What are we doing? Sneako doesn't deserve to go to Iran at the chance. He'll get an Iranian woman. They tend to be very pretty. As long as Kick doesn't defend him calling for actual violence like Twitch does with Hassan, we're good. Yeah, like, if he was out here calling for, like, blood to run in the streets, that would be a different issue. And I'd be like, hey, Kick, what the fuck are you doing? We were mad at Twitch for not getting rid of Hassan when he said these things. So why would he be able to do that on Kick? But as far as I know, he hasn't done that. Luma continues, this is very alarming, and it's quite hypocritical for the founder of Kick, who is Iranian, to be celebrating the death of the Ayatollah and talking about how he's happy his parents are still alive to see this day, 47 years later, when Kick is paying pro-Iranian regime streamers 6 figures per month. No, you're a fucking retard. What? It's not hypocritical. It's not hypocritical at all. And this kind of, like, weird purity spiraling is very strange. Once again, like, one of the reasons I praised Gamersupps was because they have a plethora of different creators. None of us have anything to do with each other. We just work with a similar sponsor. But it's like, it's good that we have people that have stripes from all fucking over. And that's exactly how a platform should be as well. Like, if the owner of Kick was kicking people off for specific opinions that weren't violent, that would be a problem. You think having politically aligned companies is fine? The problem you see is when one side is prohibited while the other is funded by the government. I agree. I agree. And like, I think it's also weird when she says that Kick is paying pro-Iranian regime streamers 6 figures. Like, Kick has a like KCIP program, which is why I say, like, if you're watching my stream on Kick, I get paid passive American dollars just for you existing in my chat. It's not a lot because I'm a multi-streamer. If I was a solo Kick streamer, it would be considerably more. I like multi-streaming. And so it's weird for her to frame it as Kick is paying him, because this is a content creator program offered to pretty much anyone that is partnered. Maybe Sneako has like a special contract with them. I have no idea. In that case, it would make more sense for her to say Kick is paying. But when she brings up the like 166,000 or whatever, he's going to his dashboard to show his payout. So this is like subscriptions. These are the Kick bits. These are gift subs. This is like his partner payout from the partner program that I'm a part of as well. And so it's a really weird thing for her to say it that way, trying to be like, well, Kick is specifically funding someone that they disagree with, which is hypocritical, which just isn't true. Just isn't true. And then this is the Bijan Tehrani saying, grateful my parents are alive to see this day after 47 years. And then here's the Sneako clip that she added to her tweet complaining about nonsense because she's dumb.
But it's a reminder that this life is short. And so Khomeini, if he did die, if he died in this act, especially during the holy month of Ramadan, inshallah, he gets the highest rank in Jannah, and he gets eternal paradise. He gets the highest rank, he gets martyrdom. That's the highest achievement we can get. But it's a reminder that this life is short.
She's literally complaining because she disagrees with him. That's kind of goofy of her. Like, I would be fine if she was criticizing him. That's cool. But like doing this weird, the co-founder of Kick is a hypocrite. Why is Kick paying this pro-Iranian regime streamer? That just makes her look like a dumb weirdo. Here's the clip posted by Sneako's own clippers in which he brags about Kick paying him over 166,000. This is shameful.
But here's the revenue for February. And obviously I cross-stream on YouTube. Only missed 3 days in February.
So he's cross-streaming. Dude, his partner income is fucking pumped. That's nuts. Partner income is pumped. He says he cross streams on YouTube. I do wonder how he's making so much cross streaming, because like if I look at my dashboard on Kick, hold on, I have to like expand my browser. And I'm sure he has like a trajillion more audience people than I do, but I don't know what the exact payout per chatter is. So that could have something to do with it. But let's see here. Revenue dashboard, partner income. Oh, it's March. So I have to go back to February. So my February partner income. So the partner income is literally what I get from you existing in my chat. So you just being in my chat on Kick, not subbing, not doing anything with your own money, just existing, your lifeblood. In the month of February, I got $3,436.53, which is fucking crazy when you think about it, right? That's like literally just extra money for you guys watching me specifically on Kick instead of on YouTube or Twitch, right? Like just existing. That is what I get from partner income. And so like I have no idea what that translates to for like his viewership. Because again, I'm sure he is a fucking way larger streamer than I am. But I have roughly like a CCV on Kick of about 800. So like 800 people in Kick roughly translates to about 3.4K USD. That's pretty fucking crazy when you think about it. The warm bodies are mining Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm not fucking up the graphics card market. Just fucking up the warm body market. Loomer's ethics are simple. Jewish good, non-Jewish bad. That's so weird. Shit, that's a living right there. Yeah, it's crazy. That's decent. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. And that's the big reason why like anyone I'm friends with, if they talk about multi-streaming, I'm like, multi-stream to Kick. It's not gonna feel like anything in the beginning, but it's a huge boost. Huge boost. He's also streaming every day. Yeah. I'm not saying like his numbers are fishy or suspicious or anything. It's just like, that's an insane number. How is he getting that? I would like to get that, right? Like, how do I get up to that point? How do I do that? That's nuts. That's nuts. But yeah, Mrs. Dirty Bloomer's kind of a retard. Kind of dumb. I wanted to bring that up because it's like, that's really stupid. Just cause you disagree with someone, unless they're actually calling for violence on people, you shouldn't want them deplatformed. You shouldn't want that. That's just weird.